Most parents would react to a child's betrayal with loud tears or angry phone calls, but I chose to sit in my hospital bed and look at the white ceiling in total silence. I did not scream, and I did not beg for her to come see me. Instead, I took a deep breath and started planning how to fix my future without her in it. But before we get to that, do us one quick favor. Subscribe. A lot of people watch without ever doing it, but it costs you nothing and it means everything to us. Hit the like button while you're at it and drop your thoughts in the comments after listening. My name is Arthur, and I spent 30 years building a fortune for a daughter who reached the conclusion that I was more valuable to her dead than alive. The pain in my chest started while I was in the kitchen making tea. It felt like a heavy weight was sitting on my ribs. I managed to call the ambulance before I collapsed on the tile floor. I remember the coldness of the floor. I remember the sound of the siren getting closer. Then, everything went dark for a while. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. There were tubes in my arms. A machine was beeping next to my head. A nurse came in and told me I was lucky. She said my heart had almost given out. I was 64 years old and I had been working hard since I was 18. I had a daughter named Chloe. She was 32. I thought she would be the first person there when I opened my eyes. I asked the nurse for my phone. My hands were shaking. I saw that I had no missed calls from Chloe. I had sent her a text message right before the ambulance arrived. I told her I was going to the hospital and that I loved her. She hadn't replied. I waited for 2 hours. I thought maybe she was driving. Maybe she was in a meeting at her office. Finally, my phone buzzed. My heart jumped. I thought it was her saying she was downstairs in the parking lot. I opened the message. It said, "Too busy, handle it yourself. You always make a big deal out of nothing. Call me when you get out if you need a ride, but I have a dinner tonight." I read it 3 times. I checked the name. It was Chloe, my only child. I had paid for her college. I had paid for her apartment in the city. I had given her a job at my real estate company. I had even paid for her wedding, which ended in a divorce that I also paid for. I looked at the text again. Too busy. I had $3.5 million to my name. It was all in property, stocks, and cash. I had worked 60 hours a week for decades to make sure Chloe would never have to worry about money. She knew this. She often talked about what she would do with the family estate once I was gone. She treated my life like a countdown to her payday. I didn't reply to her text. I didn't get angry. I just felt a strange kind of peace. It was like a fog had cleared. I realized that my daughter didn't love me. She loved my bank account. And she was so sure of her inheritance that she didn't even feel the need to pretend to care while I was dying. The next morning, the doctor said I was stable. I was weak, but I was going to live. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. His name was Mr. Benson. He had been my friend for a long time. "Arthur," he said, "I heard what happened. Are you okay?" "I'm alive," I said, "and I need to change my will right now." "We can wait until you get home," Mr. Benson said. "No," I told him. "Bring the papers to the hospital. I already have the draft we talked about last year, the one I told you to keep in the drawer just in case. I want to sign it today." A year ago, Chloe had been rude to a waitress at a family dinner. It had bothered me. It showed me a side of her I didn't like. I had asked Mr. Benson to draft a second will as a backup, just to see how it felt. I never thought I would actually use it, but now it was the only thing that made sense. Mr. Benson arrived at 2 p.m. He sat in the plastic chair next to my bed. He didn't ask questions. He knew me. He knew I was a quiet man, but once I made a decision, I never changed my mind. "Are you sure about this, Arthur?" he asked. "You are leaving her nothing but the house in the mountains." "The cabin is worth $200,000, I said. "That is plenty. The rest stays with me for now. And when I die, the rest goes to the hospital and the trade school where I learned to weld." I signed the papers. My hand was steady. Mr. Benson called a nurse and a technician to witness the signature. It was done. The $3.5 million was no longer Chloe's future. It was a gift to people who actually worked hard and saved lives. I stayed in the hospital for 4 more days. Chloe never came. She sent one more text on the 3rd day. It said, "Can you Venmo me $2,000? My car insurance is due and I'm short this month." I didn't answer. I didn't send the money. I had spent my whole life being her safety net. It was time for her to learn how to fly or how to fall. When I got home, the house felt too big. It was quiet. I sat in my favorite leather chair and drank a glass of water. I looked at the photos on the mantle. There was Chloe at her graduation. There was Chloe at her wedding. She looked beautiful, but in every photo I was standing in the background holding the checkbook. I decided to sell my big house. It was worth a lot of money. I didn't need 5 bedrooms. I didn't need a pool. I called a real estate agent and put it on the market that week. 2 weeks later, Chloe finally called. I was eating a simple turkey sandwich when the phone rang. "Dad," she said, her voice sounded annoyed. "Why haven't you answered my texts? And why is there a for sale sign in the front yard? I drove by today to see if you were okay." "I'm fine," I said. "I'm selling the house. I don't need it anymore." "Selling it?" she screamed. "Where am I supposed to stay when I visit? That's my childhood home. You can't just sell it without asking me." "I am the one paying the taxes," I said calmly. "I am the one who lives here. I decided it's time for a change." "Well, where are you moving?" she asked. "Are you buying that penthouse downtown? If you do, I want the guest suite." "I'm moving to a small apartment by the lake," I told her. "It has 1 bedroom. It's perfect for me." There was a long silence on the other end. "1 bedroom? That's ridiculous. What are you doing with the money from the sale? Dad, you're acting weird. Is it the heart attack? Did it mess with your brain?" "My brain is fine, Chloe," I said. "I'm just simplifying my life." "Well, listen," she said, her voice turning sweet. "I need that $2,000, and actually I was thinking of upgrading my car. Maybe we could look at some SUVs this weekend, since you're getting all that money from the house sale." "I'm busy this weekend," I said, "and I won't be giving you any more money, Chloe. You have a job, you have your own life. Like you said, I should handle things myself." "Are you serious?" she snapped. "You're really going to hold one text message against me? I told you I was busy. I have a life, Dad. You can't just cut me off because I couldn't drop everything to sit in a hospital room while you slept." "I didn't cut you off because of the text," I said. "I cut you off because the text showed me who you are. You didn't care if I died. You only cared if the money kept flowing. The money has stopped flowing." She hung up on me. She thought I was bluffing. She thought I would get lonely and call her back in a few days. She thought that because I had always been the quiet, nice dad, I would eventually give in. But I didn't. I sold the house for $1.2 million. I moved into my small apartment. It was clean and bright. I had a view of the water. I spent my mornings walking and my afternoons reading. I felt better than I had in years. My heart was getting stronger. Chloe tried to call me every few days. At first, she was angry. She left voice messages calling me selfish. Then she tried to be sad. She left messages crying, saying she missed her old dad. Then she tried to be professional. She sent emails asking about her inheritance and the legal status of the family trust. I didn't answer any of them. I had given her 32 years of my life. That was enough. A few months later, I decided to have a small party for my 65th birthday. I invited a few old friends and Mr. Benson. We sat on the balcony of my apartment and watched the sunset. "How is she?" Mr. Benson asked quietly. "I don't know," I said. "I haven't spoken to her." "She came to my office last week," Mr. Benson said. "She tried to get a copy of the will. She told my secretary that you weren't mentally fit to manage your affairs." I laughed. It didn't even hurt. "What did you tell her?" "I told her that you are the most mentally fit man I know," he said. And I told her that if she didn't leave, I would call the police. She was very upset when she found out I had already updated the filings. "Did you tell her what's in it?" I asked. "No," he said. "I kept that a secret. I figured you wanted to tell her yourself when the time was right." "The time is never," I said. "She will find out when I'm gone. Until then, she can wonder." A week after my birthday, Chloe showed up at my apartment. She must have followed me or found my address through a friend. She was wearing an expensive coat I had bought her 2 years ago. She looked tired. "Dad," she said when I opened the door, "we need to talk. This has gone on long enough." "I don't have much to say," I told her. I didn't let her in. I stood in the doorway. "I'm broke," she said. She wasn't crying, she was just blunt. "My credit cards are maxed out. I lost my job because I couldn't focus. I need help. You have millions of dollars sitting in the bank and I'm your only child. Why are you doing this to me?" "I'm not doing anything to you," I said. "I'm just not doing anything for you. There is a difference." "It's my money too," she shouted. Small lines appeared around her mouth. "I've spent my whole life being your daughter. I've waited for my turn to have the life you have. You're being a miser. You're being a mean, bitter old man." "You haven't waited for your turn," I said. "You've waited for my end. And I decided I'm not ready for the end yet. I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to travel. I'm going to donate to causes I care about. I might even buy a boat." "You're crazy," she hissed. "I'll take you to court. I'll tell them you're incompetent." "Go ahead," I said. "I have a clean bill of health from the best heart surgeon in the state. I have a lawyer who has documented every interaction. And I have that text message you sent me while I was in the ICU. It's saved in 3 different places." She looked at me like she didn't recognize me. She was used to the man who would sigh and reach for his wallet. She wasn't used to this man. "I don't hate you, Chloe," I said. "I'm just done being your ATM. You have the cabin in the mountains. It's yours. I've already transferred the deed. You can live there. You can sell it. But that is all you get. Ever." "The cabin," she spat. "It's 3 hours away from the city. It doesn't even have a paved driveway." "Then I guess you'll be busy," I said. "Handle it yourself." I closed the door. I didn't lock it with a loud bang. I just clicked it shut. I went back to the window and looked at the lake. The water was blue and calm. I felt a little bit of sadness, but mostly I felt light. I had lived my life for someone else for too long. I spent the next year traveling. I went to Italy. I went to Japan. I saw things I had only ever seen in magazines because I was always too busy working to support Chloe's lifestyle. I met a woman named Maria in a cooking class in Rome. She was a widow. She was kind. She didn't care about my bank account because she had her own small pension and a big family that loved her. We started talking. We started traveling together. She liked that I was quiet. She liked that I listened. Every now and then I would get an angry email from Chloe. She had sold the cabin. She had used the money to pay off her debts, but then she had spent the rest on a failed business venture. She was working as a waitress now. She told me it was my fault that she was suffering. I didn't feel guilty. I knew that if I had died that night in the kitchen, she would have spent the $3.5 million in 2 years. She would have been in the same position she was in now, but I would be dead and the money would be wasted. This way, at least the money was going to do some good. I am 70 now. My heart is doing okay. I live in a small, comfortable house with Maria. We have a garden. I grow tomatoes. I never saw Chloe again. I heard she moved to another state. Sometimes I wonder if she ever thinks about that night. Sometimes I wonder if she realizes that one text message cost her a fortune. But then I realize it wasn't the text message. It was the years of selfishness that the text message finally revealed. I was a quiet father. People thought that meant I was weak. They thought it meant I wasn't paying attention. But quiet men see everything. We see who loves us and we see who is just waiting for us to stop breathing. I am glad I woke up in that hospital. I am glad I read that text. It gave me the last 10 years of my life back. It was the most expensive text message ever sent, and yet it was worth every penny to me. I sit on my porch now and watch the sun go down. I don't have $3.5 million anymore. I've given a lot of it away already. The local trade school has a new welding wing. The hospital has a new cardiac recovery lounge. There is a plaque on the wall there with my name on it. When I finally do go, there won't be a big fight over my will. There won't be any lawyers arguing in a courtroom. Everything is already where it belongs. I took a sip of my tea and leaned back in my chair. The air was cool and still. I was happy. I was at peace. I had handled it myself just like she told me to. If this story resonated with you, join our channel by liking and subscribing for more real, raw, and family-centered stories. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.